Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Tiffany. I'm a student at Stanford studying computer science and classics. And today I'm going to be talking about the college application process. And I know the application season is coming up pretty soon, so I think this video will be helpful for a lot of high school seniors. And I also know that this application can be really stressful and really tough and long, so I'm hoping that with this video you'll have some helpful tips that will help you on the upcoming season. And I want to thank Squired for sponsoring this video. Squired is a new platform that connects you with students at top universities, and you can look at their essays, profiles, and statistics. And they have a bunch of mentors on the site who are willing to help you, and you can talk to mentors from different universities about advice, interview preparation, essay editing, and any questions you might have about the college application process or college in general. So if you're interested in using a platform like Squired, I'll have the link down below and you can sign up and start your journey. So as for school selection, my first tip would be to do a lot of research and look into a ton of different schools, because you never know what's out there, and eventually the college that you do end up going to is going to be a big part of your life. So the first resource that I would recommend is Fisk's Guide to College, and this is something I used when I was considering different colleges. This has a ton of different colleges and information on the different colleges, total enrollment, number of undergraduates, male to female ratio, all the general things you need to know to get a big picture of the college that you might be interested in applying to. So I'd really recommend getting this book or looking into it, and I will leave the link down below if you are interested. Another thing you can do is talk to friends who go to college. So if you have any friends from high school who already graduated, you can just reach them by text or email and just say, hey, I'm really interested in knowing more about your college. And that's the way that I learned about many different colleges, is just by Facebook messaging different friends and asking them how they liked their college experience, what was good and what was bad, just so they could give me an honest review. Also, looking at school websites is a really good way to learn more about the school. They usually have different pages for different departments, so you can look at the research that's being done. They also probably have some student blogs where people talk about the student experience. And they also have admission statistics where you can see like the average SAT, ACT score, or GPA of people who got in. And it'll give you a better idea of the kind of people who are accepted to the college so that you can put your best foot forward when applying. You can also look at the different majors that are offered at the college. They usually have a page where they list all of the majors, and you can see if there's a major that interests you, and that might make you want to apply to that college. Another good way to learn about college is by just going on YouTube. There's a lot of college YouTubers who've popped up over the last 5 years. Back when I was applying, I remember there wasn't really too many. There was maybe 3 or 4, but now I think there's hundreds. So if you just look up a college name and maybe a day in the life, there's going to be a ton of videos, and you get to see what life is like at that college and if that's something you might be interested in. One thing I do want to caution is that most people will post their highlight reel on YouTube because no one really wants to talk about when they're sad or stressful. So one thing to note is that your experience at college might not be exactly what their experience is like. Another thing to look at when you're applying to a school is if they let you change the major that you applied with. So I know some schools are really flexible where you can put down a major on the common application that you're interested in, and then when you get there they allow you to choose any of the majors. But there's also other schools who don't allow you to do that, and it might be more difficult to switch majors once you get to the college. And I know when I was applying to college, I didn't really know what I wanted to study or what I wanted to do after college, so I was really looking into a college that would be really flexible with majors. A few more things to consider when you're looking at colleges is, what does the nearby city look like? Is it a big city? Are you dab smack in the middle of a bustling city like New York? Or is there kind of like a quaint town nearby? And it's also really important to consider the location of the college that you're applying to. If it's in the state that you live in, sometimes there'll be in-state tuition, so tuition will be less than if you were coming in from a different state. So that is a factor that you would want to consider when choosing which college to apply to. That scared me so much. And the last tip that I have is that when you're creating the list of colleges that you're going to apply to, make sure that every single college on that list is one that you would actually want to go to, and that you're not just applying to it because of prestige or because somebody's telling you to. Because going to college is a really formative time in your life, and you want to make sure that you are going to the one that you really want to, and that will really help you grow and develop into the next stage of your life. The next thing I'm going to talk about is program selection. So what major should I apply as when I'm applying to college? I think it helps if you have an interest in something and that interest is shown in your application elsewhere. For example, for me, I had a lot of interest in photography and filmmaking, and so for some of the schools I actually applied as a film major. Another thing is that the major that you put doesn't necessarily have to be something that you've already been studying or working on. It can be something that you are interested in as well. So even if you haven't coded projects before or anything and you're interested in computer science, you could totally put that as the major that you're applying with. But it would also make sense and probably be helpful if you said somewhere in your essay or in your application that you are interested in computer science or coding, and that would make more sense why you were applying as that major. And also just know that when you get to college, you're probably going to change your major. Like for me, I studied everything from film to bioengineering to biomedical computation, biomechanical engineering, and then I settled on computer science and classics. So the major that you put on your application kind of is not super important in the end. Don't really stress about this part, just make sure that it makes sense with the story that you've been telling on your application. The next topic I'm going to talk about is fun. It's the essay. And I personally think that the essay is the most important part of your application. And this is because it tells a story about your life. It tells the people who you are. As for the topic of the essay, it can literally be about anything. I read some essays online that wrote about going to Costco. It could be about your best friend. It could be about anything. I think they're mainly looking to see what your writing style is like and also who you are as a person, what your interests are, and what things you've done in life. Just make sure that it's genuine and make sure that it's well written. It's really important that you don't have any grammar mistakes or anything like that. So I would encourage you to start thinking about your college application essay topic pretty early. It doesn't have to be freshman year, but I know for me, I just had an inkling that I would do something about cameras and photography and filmmaking because I had always liked doing that kind of stuff. So that's what I ended up writing my Common App essay on. And if you want to look at that video where I read my essay, I will link that down below as well. And when you're writing your essay, make sure you give yourself enough time to do it. Make sure that you take some time between different drafts of your essay, because if you're looking at an essay for hours and hours and hours at a time, there might be some things that you just skip over or miss because you've just been staring at it for so long. And also, I think it's really helpful if you have a family member or a friend who is able to look over the essay. Maybe they can also suggest things or catch things that you might have missed. When I was writing my essay, my dad was really helpful. He worked with me in editing the essay and making some word tweaks and things like that. And if you need some essay inspiration, there's a ton of videos on YouTube of people reading their college essays. Squired, who is sponsoring this video, also has a ton of essays on their website for free. So I would really encourage you to go check that out, and I'll leave the link down below. Make sure that you don't plagiarize, either intentionally or unintentionally, because that's not good, and the admissions people have definitely read the essays online, and if you copy that, then they're going to be aware and it's not going to look good for you. So just make sure that you're really aware that you're not copying anything and that your essay is original and comes from you. So those are my tips for essay editing and writing. Just make sure that your essay is genuine and well written, and you'll be on your way. The next topic I'll be covering is interviewing. And I remember when I did my college interviews, I was super nervous, and so I'm going to give you some helpful tips that will hopefully calm your nerves about these interviews. So the first tip I have is to look at YouTube videos. There's a lot of videos of people talking about their interview experience, and they might go over some questions that they talked about in their interviews. When I was interviewing for college, I remember looking at this video from YesReneau, a YouTuber from Harvard, and she gives some excellent tips about the interview process, so I will link that down below. Another way to prepare is to read blogs about the college interview process. Over the years, a ton of people have been publishing a lot of things about this topic. So if you look at those blogs, you can look more into what the interview experience was like for that person, and maybe even what questions the person was asked. Another tip that's helpful for just interviewing in general is to have a list of maybe 5 stories that you're ready to talk about. And this can be anything from a cool summer experience to a vacation or a school experience. It just is good to practice that and to think about what you might talk about so that when you get there, you're not super nervous and thrown off by the questions that they give you. Also, make sure that you go in with some information about the school that you're interviewing for. Make sure you've done some research on the campus because they might ask you why you want to go there and you don't want to be thrown off by that question. And lastly, just note that the people who are interviewing you are really nice and they want you to succeed. In my experience, all the interviewers who have interviewed me have been super nice and helpful and just wanted to talk, and they're really just there to have a casual conversation with you to see more of what you're like. So this can be a really good opportunity for you to shine. So try not to be nervous, just make sure you do your preparation and you'll be totally fine. And the last topic I'm going to talk about is just general advice I have for the college application process. The first tip I have is to just start researching early. It's really never too early to look into colleges. You can look on their website, do those YouTube searches, and everything that I was talking about in the first section. And another important thing is to be genuine. So when you're choosing clubs or activities to do when you're in high school, make sure you're doing them because you're really actually passionate about them and not just because it'll look good on your application. It'll actually make for a stronger application if you're doing stuff that you actually enjoy. Another tip is to reach out to people, and I think people are usually really willing to talk to you about their college experience. So if you're ever curious about anything, just ask them and I'm sure they'll be happy to talk. If you also have questions for me, feel free to comment down below and I can clarify anything or answer any of the questions that you might have about college or applying. And lastly, just take a deep breath because it's gonna be okay. The application season is going to be over. You're going to go to college. It's going to be an amazing experience. College is honestly such a great experience. It has been so formative for me. I feel like I've grown so much. I've met so many new people and developed to a completely different person than I was just 4 or 5 years ago. I've made so many lifelong friends in college, and I've done things that I never thought I would do, like study computer science or code or do an internship in Hawaii. This is all worth it, and you're gonna be just fine, and you're gonna come out on the other side, you're gonna go to college, and it's gonna be great. So those are all the tips that I have. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you want me to cover another topic or you still have any questions, feel free to just comment down below and I will answer your question. And also, if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. I have a ton of videos about my life in college, and I have a ton of videos that I am still releasing. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate every view and every comment. It really makes my day, and it makes having this channel really worth it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.